Um, One of my father's business contacts became such a close family friend that my elder brother Ravi and I called him uncle to indicate respect and affection. When he was a young man, he was a champion competitive swimmer and he looked the part his whole life. Ravi once told me that when our uncle was born, the doctor, to get him to start breathing, had to take him by the feet and swing him above his head round and round. It forced all his flesh and blood to his upper body, I said Ravi, wildly spinning his hand above his head. That's why his chest is so thick, that his lungs are so skinny. To think that I believed him. Even in his 60s, my uncle swam 30 lengths every morning at the local pool. He tried to teach my parents to swim, but he never got them to go beyond wading up to their knees at the beach and making ludicrous circular motions with their arms. This made them look as if they were walking through a jungle, spreading the tall grass ahead of them. Ravi was just as unenthusiastic. To find a willing disciple, my uncle had to wait until I was old enough to learn how to swim, which he claimed to my mother's distress was at the age of 7. He brought me down onto the beach, pointed seawards, and said, somewhat extravagantly, "This is my gift to you." Under his watchful eye, I lay on the beach and fluttered my legs, scratching away at the sand, with my hands tilting my head at every stroke to breathe. I must have looked like a child throwing a peculiar slow motion tantrum in the water as he held me on the surface. I tried my best to swim. I was faithful unto my aquatic guru. When my uncle felt that I had progressed sufficiently, he decided we should turn our backs on the blue-green waves and the bubbly surf, and so we headed for the predictability and the flatness of the local swimming pool. I went there with him 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, an early morning ritual with clockwork regularly. Swimming instruction in time becoming swimming practice was grueling, but there was the intense pleasure of doing a stroke with increasing ease and speed over and over again until I practically felt as if I were hypnotized, the water turning from molten lead to a liquid light. It was on my own guilty pleasure that I went sometimes to the sea, beckoned by the mighty waves that crashed down, and by the gentle tidal ripples that caught me. My gift to my uncle was 2 full lengths of the pool on my 13th birthday. I finished so spent I could hardly wave to him. Beyond the activity of swimming, there was talk of it. It was the talk that my father loved. The more vigorously he resisted actually swimming, the more he fancied it. Swimming lore was. his leisure talk, so different from the workaday talk of running his business. My uncle had studied for 2 years in Paris. He liked to describe the Delaney pool. It was unfiltered and unheated, but he said, an Olympic pool is an Olympic pool. He spoke of indoor pools with roofs, open all year round, but they were often dingy and crowded. But these were often dingy and crowded. Then there were others which were bright, modern, and spacious, setting the standard for excellence in municipal pools. But no swimming pool in his eyes matched the splendor of the Molitor pool, about which he was prone to impossible exaggerations. It had the best swimming club in Paris, a section reserved for swimmers who wanted to swim lanes, and was as big as a small ocean. Wooden changing cabins, blue and white, surrounded the pool on 2 floors. The porters who marked your cabin door with chalk to show it was occupied were friendly, and no amount of shouting or tomfoolery ever ruffled them. The showers gushed hot, soothing water. There was an exercise room. There was a cafeteria. It was the only pool that made my uncle fall silent. His memories swimming too many lengths to mention. My uncle remembered, my father dreamed. Section 2, Reading for Meaning. Read passage 2 in the insert and answer all the questions below. From paragraph 1, why did Pai and Ravi call their father's business contact uncle? It was to show respect and to give honor. The boy's uncle looked the part his whole life. What part did he look? He was a champion. Why was Ravi wildly spinning his hand above his head? It was to show, it was to explain, it was to explain what the doctor did to their uncle when he was born. It was to explain how the doctor helped his uncle to start breathing. Why do you think Pai believed Ravi's story about their uncle? He was gullible, as younger than his brother Ravi. From paragraph 2, Pai's parents looked as if they were walking through a jungle, spreading the tall grass ahead of them. Without copying from the passage, explain in one in no more than 15 words why what is happening here. They were walking into the sea. They were making swimming movements with their arms and hands. According to the information in the paragraph, what did we have in common with his parents? Both of them disliked swimming. Pai was his uncle's willing disciple. Pick out and write down the single word used later in the paragraph which is linked to this idea. Guru. Explain fully why the uncle's opinion distressed Pai's mother. Uncle thought that 7 was the right age for Pai to start swimming. The mother thought that Pi was too young to start swimming. Paragraph 3. Explain in your own words why Pi's uncle thought that swimming in a swimming pool was preferable to swimming in the sea. Sea is less predictable as compared to the pool. The pool water is always calm without any weight to make it rough. In what two ways were Pi's trips to the local swimming pool a ritual? Pi went to the swimming pool on fixed days, that is, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The trips were all early in the morning. Why did swimming instruction in time become swimming practice? He had learned how to swim. Pi sometimes went swimming in the sea on his own. Why do you think he describes this as a guilty pleasure? He's concealed. He concealed the fact. He concealed the fact from his uncle that he went into the sea for swimming, which his uncle never approved. From paragraph 4, what did Pi's father like to do in his spare time? His father liked to talk about swimming all his free time. According to Pi's uncle, what was special about the Delaney pool? It had been built for the Olympic Games. Pi's uncle was prone to impossible exaggerations about the Molito pool. Which one of the exaggerations which he made was impossible? It was as big as the sea. The uncle's memory was swimming too many lengths to mention. What do you think the writer wishes to convey here? There were so many cherishing events about the Molitor pool. From the whole passage, choose five of the following words or phrases. For each of them, give one word or short phrase not more than seven words, which has the same meaning that the word or phrase has in the passage. Ludicrous, ridiculous, fluttered, flapped, practically, almost, beckoned, summoned, spent, exhausted, splendor, magnificence, prone to, tended, temporary, bad behavior.